안녕하세요. 제 이름은 준입니다. 네, 오늘부터 이제 책을 읽어드릴 건데요. 영어 공부를 하면서 네, 이게 영어 공부에 참 도움이 된다고 생각해요. 네, 그래서 제가 이제 영어 책을 읽으면서 보여드릴게요. I'm gonna read out this book, yeah, Guide Time, yeah, with children book, and I'm just gonna read this book. I'm gonna read this book out loud to improve my English. Yeah, so here we go. Chapter 1. It's embarrassing, that's what it is, I said to Buzz as we walked home after soccer practice. And she just keeps doing it. Who is she going out with this time, guy? He asked. His name is Brad, and when I asked her what he does for a living, she told me he's in fall. What does that mean, in fall? Does he's married? Asked Buzz. I think it means he sells it, I said. You mean like a good human man eating ice cream? Buzz asked as he kicked the soccer ball ahead of him on the sidewalk. I guess, I said. Where is the Brad taking her? Buzz asked. I don't want to know, I said. I tapped the ball away from Buzz with my foot and kicked it hard off onto Mr. Wiedermeyer's lawn. Probably a mink farm. The ball shot across the grass and roared outside on the big rhododendron bush. Hang on a sec, I said, and went to retrieve it. My life has never been exactly what you'd call normal, but ever since my parents split off 6 months ago, and my mother started going out on dates with guys like Fred, it's been spectacular. I'm a regular 13-year-old kid by most people's standards, but my parents, Lorraine and William Wickham Stranger, both on the old side. Well, at least my father used to be old, but no, now he's number, which, I guess, when you think about it, is kinda old in himself. The same man who only a year ago was working around the Cinder Springs in high water pants, white socks, and fanny loafers now wears design suits and gets a medical once a week. Sometimes I barely recognize him. It's all on account of his work. My father is into computers. I used to think that meant he was racing off to his elbows in gears and sprockets and microchips, filling wires out of backs of motors like some sort-made scientist. Now I know that what he does is invent somewhere programs that do stuff for people who are sick and tired of having to do stuff for themselves. He didn't used to have to dress up and have clean fingernails to do his work. But then he invented TS and everything changed. He traveling over the country for the conferences. Then he started going off to places like Japan and Germany for weeks at a time. He was making a lot more money than he ever had before. We got a new car and a refrigerator that shoots ice, and 2 different kinds of cold drinks out of horse in the front of the door. Well, at least it used to shoot the drinks before my mother filled it with the kefir, his coarse running yogurt stuff. They pretty much gummed it up for good, but it still suicides. Having more money in the family was the good part about my dad's new job. The bad part was that after TSC became a household word, something worse happened in my household. My mom and dad stopped getting along. It's not like it was so unusual for my parents to fight. They'd always done it, but this was different. Usually they did junk like yard stuff at each other and slam doors. And every now and then, one of them would stop off somewhere in a huff. Like one time, my mother got really mad at my dad about something and flew off to the yogurt retreat in California without telling us where she was going. She stayed there for about a week while my dad and I hung out and ate her entire stockpile of frozen raw-fat dinners. When she finally came over home, all she wanted to do was play the touchy-feely music and walk around the house in turban cheering, "I am so lean, I am so lean." It was really trippy, but I was glad she was home. And after a couple of days she and my father made up, and her life went back to normal, as normal as it ever was around my house. But after my dad changed it, my parents started having fights that lasted for days. Sometimes at dinner they would look at each other. Once in the middle of an argument I heard my father say, "Lorraine, it's high time you grew up." She responded by drawing a big fat fruit at his head. He ducked, and it broke a pan in the kitchen window. A lot of times one or the other of them would be asleep on the couch. And when I got up in the morning, then one day, about 6 months ago, my dad packed a suitcase. And first I thought he was just taking another business trip, but then he asked me to come sit on the porch with him, and he put his arm around me and told me that he was moving out. I could believe it. "Maybe you and Mom just need a little break from each other," I said. Buzz and I do that sometimes. Just take a little break from each other until things are blown over. He shook his head and didn't say anything. My dad moved to San Diego temporarily to help train befriend some huge company that was installing TSC in every computer in the joint. He sent me the photo of the condo they put him up in. It had a red tile roof and a big pool in the back and tall palm trees all around it. He called me all the time, pretty much every day. He said I could come visit any time I wanted to, but I figured he'd be home soon enough, so why bother to fly all the way out there and miss school and get jet lag? I was sure he'd come back before long. But after 5 months, he was still out in California. It was around that time that my mother dropped the big bomb. "I have got started thinking about making all your life for myself," he said one day. "What's the matter with the life you've got now?" I said. "I'm lonely," she said. "Oh," I said, hoping she wasn't about to suggest that we spend more time together. I love my mother, but she is best in small doses. "I put a personal ad in the paper," she went on, and I've forgotten several responses already. I'm a little nervous about it, but I will agree to meet one of them. Highly recommend. Is that new? Highly recommend. It rang over. Wait a second, Miss Brackman, this science teacher at my school? Are you crazy, Mom? You can't go out on a date with my science teacher. That's sick. We're only gotcha, maybe, she said as she put on her lipstick and smacked her lips together on a clagnax. He sounded nice on the phone. What does he look like anyway? I was in a panic. This can't be happening. He's bored and an egg. But that's not the point, Mom. Don't you get it? You can't go on a date. No, not with Mr. Wackman. Not with anyone. In case you've forgotten, you're married to Dad. Besides being beyond disgusting, he's looking for you to get on a date, isn't it? I shouted. Your father and I are regularly separated now, Guy, she said softly. I didn't say anything. I could. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach, and I could catch my breath. Legally separated. I didn't like the sound of that one bit. The papers just came through last week, she said. William Coughlin's father is our mediator. He's very amicable. Amicable? I said. Friendly. We're not fighting about anything, your dad and I. If you're not fighting anymore, why doesn't he just come home? I asked. He's not that simple, guys, she said as she touched my cheek with the back of her hand, even though it was supposed to. Her touching me like that made me feel worse. I stood there watching my father scratch with her fingernail and a lipstick stain on one of her front teeth. The whole world seemed to be moving in slow motion somehow. Then the doorbell rang, and he put her on a fur coat, the one my father gave her for Christmas last year. She kissed me on the cheek, or rather near my cheek on account of drifting, and told me she loved me, and went downstairs to greet my doggy-bored science teacher, her date. And the door. There have been several times in my life when I wonder if it's all some sort of the screw joke. The days Miss Blankman took my mother to the movies was definitely one of them. Yeah, the one chapter is over. Yeah, so see you in my next video. Bye.